Welcome, guys. Today's topic is how to pass economics. Obviously, I'm speaking to all grades here who are studying economics, grade 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to give you study tips on how you can pass economics. So make sure you listen very carefully so that this video will be beneficial to you guys. Listen very carefully. These are study tips on how you can pass economics. So without wasting any time, number one, you need to study. Why did I start with this one? This one is very simple. If you don't study, you won't pass. If you don't study, you won't pass. I want to repeat this again and again, guys. If you don't study, you won't pass. So, guys, make sure you study. I don't say that you should focus on economics alone. If you want to pass a subject, you have to study, guys. It's very simple. You have to just make time for it to study it. It depends on which grade you are. If you are in grade 12, you gotta make more time to study. So there's a difference there. So just try and make time to study that subject. In fact, any subject. Right now we are talking about economics. Just try and make time for economics and study things that you don't understand. Most of the time, you should study things that you don't understand and study textbook. Maybe they say they gave you a homework. After you're done writing it, just study and try to understand economics. So that's number one. It's a very simple one. Number two is the one I always repeat the most, is to use previous question papers, is to study using previous question papers. What do you do when you study using previous question papers? If you're writing June exams, let's say you're writing June exams, you have to use previous question papers. Download previous question papers on Google. You can just search it out there. Grade 11 previous question paper, and then download. Then you're done. You study using previous question papers. You try to answer those previous question papers. Obviously, you have to download the memo, the answers also. Just that you have to try first and attempt the question paper by yourself, and then after you look at the answers and try to see where you have done wrong. Not only will that improve your marks or your performance, that will show you how it feels like to write an exam. That will show you how the exam questions are conducted. So that's beneficial, guys. It's super beneficial, especially if you're in grade 12 or 11. It will be beneficial. If you want to pass economics with high marks, I would definitely advise you to study using previous question papers. It will definitely benefit you. Number three, most of you study economics actually study business studies also. So let me explain the difference between business studies and economics. Most of the business studies questions, they actually require you to answer based on the notes. Based on the notes and answer what's inside the notes. You have to cram also. You can cram and you can also pass business studies. But in economics, you cannot do that. You cannot cram and then think that you're gonna pass economics. Because the questions when they are asked, they say use that formula that you have learned to answer this question. Then they give you maybe a case study and say in Johannesburg they did this and this and this. Use this formula to answer. So that will confuse you if you don't understand. I'll make an example with grade 12, for example. They might say use this information to explain what is the Lorentz curve or to explain the Lorentz curve. So you need to understand what is the Lorentz curve. That's why number three I put understand the topic. Make sure you guys understand the topic. In economics, you have to understand the topic too in order to excel. So make sure you understand the topic. That will help you pass. Even in grade 11, you have to understand the topic. So when you read the textbook, make sure you understand what is the perfect market about, what is imperfect market about. Make sure you understand. Don't just try to cram those words or read those words aloud and cram them and put them in your mind and you don't understand what is the perfect market about. So when they talk about circular flow, make sure you understand so that even though they show you maybe a case study, you understand that this is the circular flow and what does the government do on the circular flow. You have to understand the topic, understand the topic. What does the government do on circular flow? What do businesses do on circular flow? Where do businesses get their money? You have to understand the topic. That's why I say that you have to understand the topic. It's like maths. In maths, you have to understand the formula. There's no need for you to just cram the answers and then when the numbers change, you don't understand anything. So you have to understand the topic. Same way in the maths, as I've said, you have to understand the formula. In economics, you have to understand the topic. It's very important. So, guys, when you study, make sure you understand the topic. This is number three and is one of the most important ones. You have to understand the topic. Number 4, this one actually applies to exams, is to read the question carefully. Even in Maths Lit, I always tell learners to read the question carefully. Read the questions carefully. Guys, many people who make mistakes and get wrong in economics do not read the question carefully. I'm speaking to grade 12 right now. The question might say to you, maybe you're writing an exam or a prelim, might say to you, using maybe, let's say, using a special zone, explain this topic, this case study, or this topic, explain this case study. Let me use an example with case study. Explain this case study using a special zone. And then there comes you just explain the special zone, and then you keep quiet, and then you get wrong, and you ask yourself, why did you get wrong? You have to read the question carefully and understand. If the question says, use the Lorentz curve to explain what the government did in Johannesburg, what, you have to be able to explain. So you use that Lorentz curve to explain. Those are an example, by the way. This is an example, by the way. So guys, make sure you read the questions carefully. That's very important also. Read the question carefully so that you can pass economics. And another thing I need to tell you guys, which is number 5, the last one. Nobody has told you this. It's actually to start with an essay when you're writing an exam. So especially if you know the essay, if the teacher has told you what the essay is and you went ahead and studied it. So make sure you study the essay really, really hard and understand it so that you can be able to write it. So what do I mean by that? Number 5 is actually, what do I mean by that? This is number 5. What do I mean by that? You have to start with an essay, just to get rid of the essay, guys. If you just read the essay many times, especially if the teacher told you that the essay is about the perfect market, and you stick to the perfect market and read it, please start with an essay, guys. You just start with an essay and finish off the essay and make sure that you score a lot of marks there. It's very, very beneficial. You just start with an essay, make sure you score a lot of marks. That's something that you have to memorize. Memorize the essay, guys. Memorize the essay. Make sure you memorize the essay carefully. Memorize it and then start with an essay. Don't mind what the other learners do. Just start with an essay. I always do that. Me personally, I always do that. I start with an essay just to get rid of the essay because the essay is long anyway. Just start with an essay, especially if the teacher told you that the essay is imperfect market. You read the imperfect market carefully so that when you enter the classroom, when they say start with an essay. You check the essay and the essay is imperfect market, you write it and start with it, and then you're done. I don't want you guys to actually go around on section A and section B, and then when you arrive in section C, you already forgot the essay. So it's gonna be a little bit useless, or your mind is already tired. Now on essay, you only got 10 marks. Just imagine. If you got 10 marks on essay, just imagine what you got on section B. Start with an essay and finish it off, and things will go well for you. So guys, these are all the tips that I needed to tell you. This is how you pass economics. So make sure you subscribe, you like the video, you share the video.